1 out of 2 isn't bad.
Welcome back to Ocala Talks on a Thursday. I'm your host, Tom Schmitz, coming to you from the studios of WOCA Radio, just off the runway at the Ocala International Airport in Ocala, Florida. There's a new survey out that reveals a whopping 70% Americans say they're forced to give up what they love due to heartburn. Compiling with stress and anxiety surrounding a gradual return to normalcy amid the pandemic. And then you got the upcoming holiday season you got to throw in there. It's clear now that more than ever our day-to-day lives are full of triggers that could cause heartburn, and it's painful to symptoms sometimes, taking the joy right out of the holiday season. What are some heartburn triggers? Spicy foods. They're well known. Doctors said there's others that may surprise you. The good news? Well, feeling comfortable and avoiding heartburn altogether is possible. Internal medicine expert Dr. Clenton Coleman, he's joining us live this morning with more. Good morning, doctor.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Can you tell us a little bit more about this new survey and why so many Americans are experiencing more heartburn?
Well, Tom, you're spot on. We can all agree that these past 2 years have been uniquely stressful with work or going back to work, not having work, financial insecurity, lack of social interaction. And suffice to say that stress can be really bad for your health. It can lead to poor sleep, bad eating habits, whether you overeat or eat poorly. You know, I go to comfort foods when I'm stressed out, and those aren't really good for you. But it can also lead to decreased mood and productivity. So Nexium's 24-hour survey looked at this interaction between stress and heartburn. They found that 64% of respondents feel so stressed about returning to normalcy that it's heartburn-inducing. So you can imagine how many people are suffering.
Wow. You know, I always hear acid reflux, heartburn, all kind of different. What is heartburn? Is it acid reflux? What actually is the definition of heartburn?
Yes, so you are correct. Heartburn is acid reflux, but it actually has nothing to do with the heart. It's that uncomfortable burning sensation that you feel in the chest from those strong stomach acids. So usually when we eat, our food is digested mostly in the stomach, but on its way into the stomach, it goes down the esophagus, which is our food pipe. At the bottom of the esophagus, there's an area, a muscle called the lower esophageal sphincter, that actually acts like a gate and allows food to go in and prevent strong stomach from going back up. Now, when that strong stomach acid goes back up, we get that sensation of heartburn. It's that uncomfortable, burning, gnawing sensation that, you know, can prevent you from doing things that you love. You also get a bitter, sour taste. Some of the common triggers that you mentioned were spicy foods, but those aren't only the common triggers. Foods that are high in acid, like citrus foods, tomato, carbonated beverages, chocolate, fried fatty foods, comfort foods are also triggers. I also want to mention that bad eating habits physically are bad for heartburn because overeating and eating late and going directly to bed can exacerbate your heartburn. Smoking, which we don't really think about, is a common trigger because it causes that muscle, that lower esophageal sphincter to relax. And as we mentioned earlier, stress is a huge trigger for heartburn. But the good thing is there's a lot of things that we can do to address these problems.
When you talk, you know, I know what my trigger is. That's why I get sausage instead of pepperoni mostly on my pizza, because I know if I eat too much pepperoni, I got it coming. It's coming. I know it's coming. I know if I eat too many tomatoes, just fresh tomatoes, and all, I know it's coming. So what are some of with those triggers, knowing those are coming, is moderation something that could help with those issues?
Definitely. So overeating, you know, your stomach is limited. It's a muscle, so it can only fill in so much. So, you know, eating a whole pizza or a whole cheesecake the night before and you get heartburn the following day, you can actually have an idea of what caused your heartburn. I tell patients a good idea is to keep a food diary. So writing down, you know, whenever they have symptoms, that food that may have caused it. So for you, you know that pepperoni is your trigger, so you can go to sausage. But I think eating healthier, eating less processed foods is also a good start.
Well, you know, we say knowing's half the battle, and you said, like I know my trigger, what my triggers are. What are some of the other things people can do to prepare in advance to help, maybe not get rid of, but lessen the symptoms of heartburn?
I think working on our lifestyle is really important. So exercising, losing weight. So there's a link between being overweight and heartburn. Avoid wearing tight clothes. So you can imagine just the physical pressure that tight clothes would put on the stomach to cause that reflux. Also, treating stress. So we're all stressed out now, so I encourage people to, meditate, do mindfulness, yoga, try to take their mind off these stressful situations. But unfortunately, we're in an environment where a lot of those things we can't control. So when patients are optimized as far as their nutrition and diet and lifestyle and they still have symptoms, I tell them that you can proactively treat heartburn with Nexium 24-hour, which is a special medication called a proton pump inhibitor that blocks acid secretion directly and either totally eliminates or significantly reduces your symptoms for heartburn so you can get back to enjoying your normal things.
I had a grandmother that every time somebody had heartburn, she'd go in the refrigerator and bring out sliced pineapple. Eat this pineapple. It'll help with your heartburn. I had a friend in college that said, my mom told me, whenever you're experiencing heartburn, just drink a lot of water and it puts the fire out in your stomach. You hear people talk about drink milk. It helps with heartburn. What are some of the common heartburn myths that our listeners should know about and maybe find out they're just that, myths?
So you mentioned milk and pineapple. So remember, pineapple has citric acid, so that can actually add to the acid content in your stomach. Milk also has a high fat content, so that can also increase acid production. Another myth so those are two no-nos. Another myth that we hear is that it's only spicy food, which is not necessarily true.
Yeah.
So sodas, carbonated beverages, just those sheer bubbles in the stomach can actually push that acid back up. Caffeine, peppermint, alcohol is a big one. Smoking is another big common myth that we don't link with heartburn. So there's a lot of things that we actually don't know, we don't realize can cause heartburn.
I had a friend one time in college that goes, every time I get heartburn, I drink ginger ale. It makes it go away. And I thought, well, that just sounds counterproductive to drink a carbonated drink that sometimes stings when it goes down, to put it on top of stinging coming up. Just doesn't make much sense to me.
Ginger actually is good. So if you're going to have ginger ale, it's probably better to have flat ginger ale because the bubbles may exacerbate. But ginger tea is good. Chamomile tea is good. But try to stay away from the carbonated beverages.
Okay, so now we got all the information you could give us in this brief time we are with you. But if we want to delve into it deeper and really look at some more information, where can we go to maybe see the survey and find out more information about how to avoid heartburn?
Yes, please go to Nexium24hr.com. That's Nexium24hour.com for further information.
Doctor, thanks so much for joining us this morning and helping us with something that's very prevalent during the holiday season. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Heartburn's part of the process. And to avoid it, if you know your triggers, and to avoid heartburn we've all done it. That you eat that pizza, that spaghetti or something, or you eat something that's your trigger, and then in the middle of the night you wake up with bad heartburn. Oh, it's the worst. Used to happen to me all the time. Now I think my fat cells just absorb it all because I'm so fat. I just think that my esophagus is like, yeah, whatever, just keep feeding us. Just keep feeding. Fat boy, just keep stuffing food down the side. But that's my issues, not yours. Not yours. We're going to take a break. When we come back, more on Ocala Talks. I'll give you some things to plan for road closures for Light Up Ocala. Give you some information on that if you're coming out this weekend to Light Up Ocala. I'm going to give you some road closures to be aware of. You're listening to 1370 AM, 96.3 FM. This is WOCA, The Source.
Go ahead, admit it. You've got a spot on your yard that needs some attention. Everybody's got them. But here's just what you do. You head for the garden, Bob Wine's Camellia Garden in Ocala, and grab an armful of Bob's glorious winter hardy annuals, like dianthus and violas and petunias and snapdragons and more. Mix or match your choice. You get a tray of 15 for $24.99. Everybody's talking about Bob's famous camellias because they're terrific this year. Thousands of these sun and shade-loving beauties start at just $15.99 this week at Bob Wines. Now, you've asked for Vidalia onions. Bob has them. You get a pack of 50 to 60 Vidalias for just $8.99. Check the ad, then head on out to Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens and Nursery on Southeast 38th Street in Ocala. They're open daily till 4, Saturdays till 3, in the same blooming location since 1952.
Tick-tock. The days fly by, and we find tax season is upon us once again. Not to worry, though. With